Yo, what's up guys? Today I want to talk about PC console parity and cross-platform shenanigans. Probably the weirdest intro to any of my videos ever, but whatever, I'm going to roll with it. So in this video, there are two main topics I wanted to discuss. One of them I briefly mentioned in a video many moons ago, but I didn't really elaborate on it, and that idea is the following. If you're a console player, and you only play on consoles, PS4 or Xbox One, and you buy a new game, whatever it might be, COD, Battlefield, Assassin's Creed, whatever, would you, if you had the option, enjoy being able to switch to a cinematic version of the game that gave you, let's say, a higher resolution, better texture quality, shadows, etc., but you would have to sacrifice some frame rate to do so? And this could work both ways too, so let me elaborate. Say for example, Battlefield 4 on Xbox One or PS4. The game runs at 720p on Xbox One, 900p on PS4 with a target frame rate of 60 frames per second. You're going to get that most of the time, but on occasion there are dips in the frame rate if lots of stuff is popping off at once. And so, the idea behind this would be to give the console players three graphic presets: cinematic, normal and performance. Now, I'm not talking like PC level advanced options where you can tweak every single aspect of the graphics, because I think that wouldn't work out great on console and it would just overcomplicate the streamlined experience of consoles. But for the sake of the idea, let's say you've got three presets to choose from. Using BF4 as an example, the normal preset is what you get now, 900p on PS4, target frame rate of 60 FPS. The cinematic preset, however, could increase the resolution of the game to native 1080p and offer things like higher texture quality and shadows, but you're going to be limited to 30 frames per second because the hardware isn't going to be able to do that high resolution at the same frame rate. So it's going to look nicer, but you'll get a lower frame rate. Believe it or not, lots of console gamers are still quite comfortable with 30 frames per second, especially in single player games. Now this isn't an insult, and I don't mean it as an insult. I just think that most casual gamers don't notice the difference or care about it and are quite happy to sit on their couch playing on a big TV at 30 FPS. And then you would also have the third option, the performance option, and that's going to drop the resolution to 720p, let's say, maybe turn down some of the graphics options, offering a more competitive experience, and it's going to give you higher stable frame rates. The perfect example for me right now where I would love something like this would be for Destiny. It's not out on PC, and on console it runs at 1080p 30 FPS. I really like the gameplay of The Crucible. I think it's a fun multiplayer shooter, but the field of view and frame rate do my head in. It just feels and looks laggy compared to most shooters that I play. If a solution was in place like I'm talking about, no problem. I don't really care about the graphics. I could switch the performance preset on, native resolution drops to 720p, I'm getting a stable 60 FPS and the field of view is slightly increased. That would be amazing, and it would actually make me want to play the game again. Now I think that would be rad, as the cool kids say. I don't even know if it's already been done before, maybe it has, but I'd like to see something like that more often in AAA titles and just give console players a bit of flexibility there with how they want their games to look and perform, both for single player and multiplayer. Is it possible on consoles? Technically, I don't see why not, and if you're a developer watching this, please chime in and tell me that I'm wrong or right, whatever. And as long as this is an optional thing for the player and they're explained exactly what the consequences of switching to a different preset would be. But then again, it does raise some questions of balance with people playing together in a multiplayer environment. Would that give those players using the performance preset an advantage? It probably would, but would the men and women who would prefer their games that look nice really care? Probably not. It's been that way on PC for years and no one really cares or complains about it that much because people have different PC specs, and even if you've got a good PC and you're really competitive, sometimes you'll just like to turn the graphics all the way down just so you get more performance and everything's a bit clearer. So please let me know what you think of the idea down below. Next topic. Have you ever wanted to play a game on your next gen console that you already owned on PC? On occasion I have, and whilst not everyone would want to, I want to explain a scenario where I think it could be useful. For the basis of this example, let's use a single player game like Tomb Raider. We're also working on the assumption that both a PC and a next-gen console are owned, and the game is also owned on both platforms. Now I know that's extremely unlikely for you to own a game for two different platforms, but I will get onto that later, but for now let's just assume that you do. So you mainly play games on PC, let's say in an office or in your bedroom, and you start playing through the Tomb Raider campaign as you normally would, having a whale of a time. The next day you're relaxing on your nice IKEA sofa and you think, you know what, I really fancy some Lara Croft right now. Clean thoughts, but you don't want to get up and play it on your PC, and frustratingly you own the game on your PS4 in front of you, but you don't want to start the whole campaign from scratch again. But what if you could just keep the progress from the PC version and carry it on where you left off on your console? What if my Battlefield or Battlefront ranks and unlocks carried across and transferred between platforms, so I could just hop onto some Battlefront when I'm sat in my living room and play with everything that I've already unlocked on my PC? Would that be so bad? And the reason this is interesting to me and why I've brought it up is because Microsoft have announced that one of their new games, Quantum Break, which I did a video on last week, which is coming out for Xbox One and PC, will offer a free Windows 10 version of the game if you pre-order the Xbox One edition. So basically, you pre-order the console version and you get a new PC copy. It sounds like a pretty good deal to me. As well as that, your game saves will flow between each platform, so if you wanted to, you could jump on any of the versions and pick up exactly where you left off at the last checkpoint. Now you've got to bear in mind that Quantum Break is a slightly different scenario than most because it's being made by Microsoft and they control the Xbox and Windows 10 store, so they can make the cross-save system pretty easily. But most games these days use their own base game servers to store information, or they're on Steam or Uplay, Origin, whatever. So it's actually going to be really hard to enable an in-game option to save your game on their servers so you can access it on a different platform. I know clearly it's not quite that system and some serious backend would need to be in place, but I expect this to become a more popular thing going forward, and Microsoft have said that they intend to do it with a lot more Microsoft developed games. Now back onto the point we talked about earlier. Most people would never buy the game twice anyway. Why would they buy it on PC and console? Well, they would have to do something similar to what Microsoft are doing, whereby you get a digital PC version if you pre-order the console version, for example. If this didn't interest you, then you could just buy the normal PC version and be perfectly happy. You've got to balance it though. Why would a company other than Microsoft bother with something like this? After all, they've got something to gain from it, but other companies maybe not so much. But in the future, I'd love to see things like in Battlefield, for example. Like for me personally, I own the game on PS4, Xbox One and PC, and on each of those platforms I've got different soldiers and unlocks. It would be awesome in the future in Battlefield games that come out if I could just switch between them and carry on my progress as needed. There is something else to consider as well. Hardware like the Nvidia Shield or Steam Link does allow users to stream their PC games to a TV, so that's another alternative. You can also do it with Windows 10 and Xbox One. Just leave your PC running, activate the software, and you could be streaming your Tomb Raider game from your PC to your TV and vice versa from the Xbox. And that's also a completely viable solution. Of course, not everyone owns or wants to buy that hardware or software though, just for that purpose. All in all, I think it's an interesting idea, and I will be looking out to see if any other game companies attempt to do something like this in the future. Do you think you would use something like this, or is it something that's simply of no interest to you? So there we have it. That's about all I wanted to say really on the matter of console PC parity. It seems like a pretty hot topic at the moment, so why not throw some more coals on the fire? Let's have your thoughts and ideas down in the comments below, get a little discussion going. As always, thank you for watching guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, a thumbs down if you didn't, and I'll see you in the next one.